Alrighty, up here at the top right, the anchor of the team MVP, their last hope here.
MVP Dongregu.
MVP Dongregu. Now down at the bottom left, a member of the team OGSTL, maybe a savior, otherwise perhaps a
oGs hero.
An OGSTL hero. I was actually talking to one of our foreign fans who's here watching StarCraft for the first time, and she told me that just based on what she's seen so far about the two teams, she said that OGS seems to have the better strategies, but MVP just has the more specific players and personalities that she really liked to watch. So I think that's actually very true about this matchup in general, OGS versus MVP. And remember, there's TL thrown in there as well. Don't forget about them.
Well, when it comes down to strategy for GSTL, on the surface it does seem very, very specific. You pick your player, pick your map, go for it. But when you add into the fact there's 15 or plus players on each team, there's so many different races, the maps, who, if you can win the game, if you can't win it, it is so complex it takes days to get your head around it.
Absolutely. Now, what we're going to see here, most likely from Hero, if history is any indicator, most likely he's going to take his second gas here pretty soon. Then he's going to go straight into 1-gate or 2-gate Phoenixes. He's going to use those to control the map. And as he controls the map, his Phoenix control is different than other Phoenixes. It's not like the Phoenix build where you get the one Void Ray, you try to kill as many queens as you can, and then you expand and you just don't do anything with your Phoenixes, you don't really make them anymore. Yeah. Hero makes his Phoenixes, he doesn't lose them, and if you blink, you're going to lose 3 drones.
Yep.
This probe looks like it is going to be taken out.
He does like being aggressive with his probe at the very beginning as well. Just likes to pick on those drones. It's not going to kill any, but it's just getting your opponent off the rhythm.
Exactly, and when you're as nervous as Dongregu has to be right now, that kind of thing is just going to set him on edge. And there's the pylon going down. That's probably exactly where he's going to hide that Stargate.
Oh, the probe actually gets away.
Just barely, man. Probe was 2 Zerling swipes away from death.
That Zealot's in a bit of an awkward position though, because more Zerglings can hit that than normal.
There's the Stargate.
Oh, but the Stalker came out at the wrong side of the wall.
That's unfortunate, but he is going to be able to micro that back. Kill these Zerglings. Well, a bit of a funky micro there. He does keep the shields, at least for now. Well, then he loses it as I say that. Does take out all these Zerglings, a decent trade.
Well, it stops the scouting now.
Exactly.
And there's the Stargate.
Speed's going to finish up here any second. This one Zergling will escape. Now, obviously, we didn't really talk a lot about it because we were talking about the strategy of Hero. This is Speedling expand from Dongregu. Now, what you can do oftentimes when your opponent goes for this type of Phoenix build is make a ton of Zerglings and just try to break his ramp, or at least make him cancel his Nexus over and over and over again. So we may see something like that from Dongregu. He's going to make that first Void Ray. Then he's going to follow this up with Phoenixes. The Void Ray is going to attack the Queen at the natural or at a possible third base location, assuming that there might be one. And then after that, he's going to lift up the Queens. Dongregu shouldn't have too much trouble dealing with this. It's actually a strategy that was really popular about a month and a half to 2 months ago that everyone was doing, and now everyone's kind of figured it out. Everyone knows how to stop it. You just make Spore Crawlers immediately, and you make them in several different places. You transfuse. Uh-oh, this might be a bit of a mistake. Okay, he's not going to move out all the way. He's going to have to cancel that pylon, though. Does cancel it. His 2 warp gates are done, and in fact, he actually has not made any Phoenixes.
No, he went for a Void Ray.
And he's been looking for Overlords. He's doing a Void Ray expand, which is a build that Anti-Mage kind of developed back in the beta or the early stages of the release. You can definitely check that build out. I highly recommend it. Spore Crawler is going down at the first sight of that Void Ray. Smart moves by Dongregu. This build, I actually was just so thinking that he was going to go Phoenixes that I didn't really tune into exactly what was going on. So he is going to take this expansion. And what can his opponent really do right now to stop him? He's got that Void Ray out, so any number of Roaches won't really do anything. If he makes a ton of Speedlings, that's kind of a liability. You don't want to make too many speedlings. And he's got this mobile unit that can clean up watchtowers, clean up overlords. It's a great opener in general. And now the Phoenixes are starting to come out. And this is when Dongregu is going to have to micro his keyboard off. Not going to be easy.
Absolutely. But there's... I don't know, he seems to be liking these speedlings. He can definitely put a lot of pressure on Hero if he does decide to move out a little bit. But here we go. It's going to be interesting. Coming at this timing could be very shocking for Dongregu.
Yeah, I mean, this is a very aggressive opening. He's actually been doing a great job of denying scouting of this until now. The Speedlings did see everything. He started 2 spine crawlers. He kind of has a good idea of what's going on. This Stalker will be taken out. Small victory for Dongregu. Void Ray checking around for Overlords. That Void Ray is actually so sad. He's been checking Overlords the entire map and hasn't found a single one. And right now, there's a Spore Crawler in position, but this Void Ray actually may be able to attack the Spines out of range of the Spore. Does decide not to do it, though. He's trying to find Overlords, but Dongregu has all of his Overlords positioned perfectly. Phoenix is rolling in here. He's going to try to pick off some Queens.
There are 2 Queens there, and the Spore Crawler is actually out of position. There goes lifting up one. He's getting a lot of damage coming in from the back as well. From the Queen coming in from the back. There we go. It does back off with that Void Ray. Does get the Queen, though. Actually going to try and get the second one. Oh!
This is actually looking really bad for Dongregu. Good force field seal during the counterattack.
There's a lot of Lings in here. He did not get the force fields off that he wanted. Half those Lings are in the main base. The force fields are about to go down as well.
He actually didn't send his Lings to the main base right away, but now he is.
Cannon going down, being forced to pull back his... He forced to pull back his Phoenixes there. Lings coming into the mineral line. He did get quite a few Queens up in the base, but he's actually losing in this trade here.
This is not looking too good for Hero. He did kill 2 Queens. Now he's going to kill some Lings here desperately with those Phoenixes.
Yep. The Cannon almost up at the front. He's got more Lings coming into the mineral line, trying to surround them with those probes, but these Lings in the main, it's being relentless now. There's so many Phoenixes sitting here. They can't really do anything.
And he's going to come over here and try to kill some more Queens. The problem is there's so many Spore Crawlers.
Yep.
There's no real good angle to attack from.
But there's actually a probe deck there behind the rocks. I think he just... Looks like he might be seeing a pylon there as well.
It's a very good point. Unstable. Right now, 16 Lings in production, plus 2 melee attacks, and a Hydralisk down on the way. Uh-oh, this is looking really bad for Hero.
He does have that cannon up, though. There's a lot of Zealots. He should be able to clean up the rest of these Zerglings. Losing a lot of probes in the meantime, though. Force field. Not going down.
He doesn't have enough energy.
No, I can't see it on this screen,
yeah,
man.
He doesn't have enough energy, man. This is looking really bad for Hero. More and more Lings coming. This is exactly what I'm talking about. When this happens, if you make a ton of Lings and get aggressive, very difficult to deal with. Cannon forced to cancel. Lings in the main.
Over and over again. I'm surprised he hasn't just kept one Zealot sitting on that ramp just at the top there, losing more and more probes.
Phoenix is going to come in here to save the day. But the damage has already been done. Mining time is being lost, and more Lings run into the natural.
It's just constant Ling production here. He's getting plus to attack. He's also got a Hydralisk Den now. He's getting the upgrades for those as well. But this could be over.
I think it just very well might. I mean, he's lost control of his natural. Those Lings can do whatever they want. Instead, they decide to come into the main here. He's trading again and again. This time, though, he's making a round of Hydralisk. And when I say a round, I mean 15 Hydralisk.
Yeah, GG.
GG. Well done by Dongregu. Hero got to be a little bit shaken by that. oGs, TL got to be a little bit shaken by that.
Well, it comes down to knowledge of how your opponent plays. He knew... Did he just get...
I think he just kicked a light or something by accident. Maybe kicked over his team sign.
I think he kicked over a flame thing.
Oh yeah, he did. That could have been a safety hazard. Dongregu, he's a safety hazard. Gives away another shirt. And there's Keen cheering him on there.
That game really came down to he knew Phoenixes were going to come.
He did.
And he had that macro hatch in the main too.
Exactly. That's exactly what I was going to say. I was going to say that if you didn't say it. That macro hatchery is so important. I can't stress to you guys enough. He wouldn't have had enough Ling production with that hatchery. Not only did he make a bunch of Lings out of that, he actually made a lot of drones as well. He went up to 53 drones, stayed on the 2 base, and with that amount of drones, you've got perfect saturation, even a little bit more than you need. It also gives the ability to take a 3rd base and then transfer drones if the Ling aggression doesn't really work.
Yeah.
But when you know your opponent has that many Phoenixes, in some sense, it's going to work. It's going to force your opponent to turtle up while you take a third base, or something like that.
Well, the downside to that is, like, we were looking at Donghaegu's main, and it looked like he was in a lot of trouble, but doing that micro like that does take a lot of focus off Hero, and he used that just to A-move into that natural, and really took advantage of that, and that's when the tides swing.
Yeah, and, you know, my caster instinct is to just yell, good force fields when I see force fields. But because, I mean, most people are good, and you don't have that much time to think about it. But those force fields were actually not very good. And the Lynx came in. If he had done just slightly better force fields, the Lynx would have been blocked. But like you were saying, if you're microing Phoenixes trying to pick up this queen and that queen and pull the Void Ray away and then bring the extra Phoenixes and make sure they're targeting down the right queen, then you know, you're not really thinking about those force fields and 30 Lynx run into your base.
Yeah, and after that, it was just because he had that macro hatch already, he was safe from those Phoenixes with the spores. It was just constant Link production, exactly what he needed to do.
There's OGS the Wind.
What is he going to do next?
I don't know what he's going to do next, man. It could be Supernova. Maybe. I think we all know that it would be MC were he here, but he is not here.
So we're going to find out. I hear the music.
I hear the music too. Who's it going to be? I couldn't see who that was.
He's already gone from the camera.
Oh. Who is that? That's actually a face I recognize. We'll find out in a second who that is. Oh, it's Cezanne. That's actually
interesting.
Like, I fully understand their decision because in the past, Cezanne has done decently in ZVZ, but the real strength, look at that record. Not very good, but the real strength in this lies. Basically, when you see this decision, I just want to get to the bottom line. When you see this decision by OGS, it means they're not comfortable sending anyone out against this guy. They're only comfortable sending Terrans like Supernova, and they don't want to do that because
it's Donghaegu.
His CVT is just too good. I mean, Supernova's TVZ is good, but the ZVT of Donghaegu is just too good. So they send out this guy to have a Zerg versus Zerg because Zerg versus Zerg has a lot of different weird things that can happen. And Cezanne already is pretty good at CVZ. Donghaegu is tired out. It's a very micro-intensive matchup. I love this choice, actually.
It does also play into if they are thinking that way, they're banking their chances on a ZVZ, which is very volatile, but they still think that volatile matchup gives them a better chance than something else.
Exactly. Sometimes you see a good Protoss come out and just crush 2 or 3 players, and you see another Protoss come out because PvP, like ZVZ, is a matchup to where you can lose if you're better than your opponent if you make just one wrong choice, or just one Baneling blows up, or just one DT gets into the main. Anything like that happens, there are just situations to which the game ends that don't come down to better mechanics, don't come down to better micro. There are just things like that happen. So ZVZ, really good choice by the Wind, and MVP, I know they're just looking on, they look really stressed. Obviously they really want to win this match.
Who would put them 2-0 in the actual league groups, which is a big up.
Yeah.
They only need 3 wins in total to make it to the playoffs. Of course, more the better because you get the higher seeding. But this is a match they really want to win.
Yeah, and it's not, you know, we talk about the seeding and how getting into the playoffs and all that stuff, but in Korea it's a little bit different to where pride and winning in a team league is so important. And I can't even stress you guys enough, something we don't talk about all the time is sponsors. If you win these things, sponsors are going to be attracted to you. They're going to say, you know, MVP wins every time they play in the team league. I want to sponsor that team. That team gets a ton of exposure. People love that team. They love Donghaegu. I want to put a little logo on his shirt and pay them some money. It's a big deal. So winning is very important. And now OGS is in a position to where it's almost, I don't want to say embarrassing, but it's like, it's hard to cope with being so far ahead and then losing 3 games in a row to one player and, you know, not being, it's not a reverse all kill because it's only 3 wins, but it's as close as it gets.
It feels just as bad.
It does. Yeah. It really does. It almost maybe even feels worse. Because if you only get 1 point and then things go awry, it's a little different. There was Hero there, just a shot of him. And MVP looks like they're just such a good team environment right now. I mean, I'm not saying OGS isn't. I'm just saying that I can imagine being on the MVP bench right now and just being the most excited little kid. I mean, I feel like that right now in the caster's chair, just sitting here going, this is awesome. This is awesome. This is like a Christmas present in July. So obviously they're getting their settings set up.
Yeah.
This is very tense, you know. This is the deciding match. It's a ZVZ. If your mouse sensitivity is like 0.0002 off when that Baneling rolls into your base and you don't right-click on it fast enough with that one Zergling because you want to pull the rest of your Zerglings away. They don't want them to blow up. And you mess it up. You don't want that to happen.
Well, what is the next map? Well, the last map.
Yeah, it is going to be Zelnaga Fortress. I was just talking about so many other things, I didn't even mention it. So Zelnaga Fortress, a pretty good choice for ZVZ.
Yeah.
It's a 3-player map. It's medium-sized. You know, normally when we talk about this map, we talk about a lot about how there's not a lot of hidden bases. There's not a lot of bases in general, but in ZVZ that doesn't normally come into play. If you see a third base in ZVZ, it's a weird game. Something weird happened.
Well, there are certain Zerg players out there who do like to get to that stage.
That is true.
Just because they have the experience there, but 99% of the time you don't see it.
Yeah, and not on a map like this at the very least. We saw that game with Ultralis on Tal'Darim Altar, where we saw just all sorts of crazy stuff. And on that map, you can use mutas because the mutas can counterattack. The map's just so huge. You can't counterattack with roaches against mutas. On a map like this, though, you can't really use mutas to get to that stage. And usually, mutas are the gateway to late-game ZVZ.
Yeah.
Because if you just, if you keep going to your opponent's base, the game just ends up going longer. If you can keep yourself alive in a longer, larger map. But on this map, that's not the case.
No, Zelnaga Fortress hasn't really had the exposure it's deserved just yet. It is very interesting, a very intricate map, especially that Zelnaga tower in the middle. It's very, very different to a lot of things you normally see, and it does change the whole matchup completely. So,
yeah. If you have control of that watchtower, you can see everything that's coming. It does, of course, expire after, I believe, 7 in-game minutes.
Yeah.
And
I think it's 7.
It's either 7 or 8, but either way, it's not a huge deal in StarCraft 2 minutes, because that's the real minutes we're talking about here.
Yeah.
But again, that watchtower makes it so that if you see how many lings are coming, you can react to that. That's very important in ZVZ because there are all these situations that can happen. ZVZ, like PvP, unlike TVT, is a matchup about being risky and getting away with it. It's not really about what units you made. It's like, could I skip the Baneling nest and try to make drones, or how many Zerglings did I make? Or and it all comes down to, did I make more drones than him? Is he making drones? Because if he's making drones and I'm making Zerglings, he's ahead, unless I attack him. But if I make too many drones, what if he attacks me? Then I die. It's a matchup about taking risks, and it's about limited information. You've got to get that info, make as many drones as possible, maybe pull a July.
It's very intricate.
Yeah. I'm just going to, we're just sitting here. I just want to explain the entire ZVZ matchup to you guys, for those of you guys who don't know. All right, I think we're going to jump right into it here. We're going to take a look at that map screen. Dongrigu looking, I don't want to say he looks I don't want to say he looks unconfident, but he looks very exhausted. I think that's the best way to say it. He doesn't look like he's about to fall asleep, but he looks like he's mentally exhausted.
And of course, I believe Cezanne is also the captain for oGs
yes,
as well.
Actually, that is the case. I believe Cezanne actually dropped out of Code A last season. Someone can correct me if I'm wrong, but I know he's definitely no longer in Code S. He was in for a while. Stable, the map is loading. This is the final match between oGs TL and MVP. I almost called him Dongrigu because he's been holding his entire team here. Which one of these guys will come out on top? Which team will come out on top? Let's find out on Zelnaga Fortress. I am Wolf. With me is Unstable. This is the GSTL Week 3 of Jupiter.